Good afternoon, friends. Welcome on this third day of the TDS series. TDS is actually very tedious, but sir has made very easy in these 2 days. Today we will see TCS, provision about TCS. Would like to request now Abhishek to address the attendees of our future programs and about this program.
Thank you, Virag. Welcome, Rajesh sir, Bafna sir, and Karan Bhavsar on this platform. So today we are having, as rightly said by Virag, that TCS, tax collected at source, which is really different from TDS, and we are having a great personality, see Rajesh Mehta sir from Indore. So we'll definitely learn new things. Friends, we are having a very special yoga webinar powered by Isha Foundation and founded by Sadhguru. Uh, so that is for all the members, and that is free for all the members on Sunday at 4 p.m. So I request all the members to please join that event. Also, you can invite your family members and your other friends in that program. So request all the members to please join that yoga program. You also we are having Karan Bhavsar. He is managing director of group companies of Padwa Group. So I would like to request Karan Bhai to say a few words to our audience about this program.
Good afternoon. Very good afternoon to all of you. CA Rajesh Mehta sir, CA TC Bafna sir, Virag bhai, Abhishek bhai. Hope everyone is learning good in these last 2 sessions, and will learn in next 2 sessions. CA Rajesh Mehta sir is very good hold in TDS section, and also today we learn about the TCS. So happy learning to all the learners. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So now I request TC Bafna sir as a part of formal introduction of our speaker, C. Rajesh Mehta sir, to give a formal introduction.
Okay. Thank you, Abhishek. Good afternoon, this is Karanji and Virag bhai. Again, this is most welcome our very eminent speaker, Sri Rajesh Mehta, on this webinar series on this TDS and analysis of all TCS related to under Income Tax Act. As you all are aware that he is a very experienced chartered accountant of 1996 and in tax practitioner appeared at very higher authorities and represented the TDS matters, and he is a national level vice president and the All India Federation of the Tax Practitioners Central Zone. So he might be also aware about the tax provisions and TDS and TCS. So we will take benefit of all this benefit from the Rajesh ji today in this session. He is a very bright academic career holder and very good speakers, great writers. So we will take this benefit of today itself in TDS TCS provisions of this webinar. Most welcome Rajesh ji again on this webinar series.
So now I should start. Yes.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Respected TC Bapna sir, President JCF Navi Mumbai, CA Virag Shahaji, CA Abhishek Shahaji, Karan Bhavsar ji, and all my professional colleagues who are sparing their valuable time during last 2 days also. And as Virag ji told that TDS is really a tedious, and in addition to TDS, one more thing is going to increasing over the years, and that is TCS. So TCS is also a complicated section. This scope of this has also been greatly expanded during this Finance Act 2020, and the government has the very good scope only to collect the tax of through the public is that is the TDS and TCS. Only by this government gets at least 40% of the tax revenue of the government comes from the TDS and TCS. So if the revenue of the government is every year is about 13 lakh crore from the direct taxes, then the TDS and TCS part is the 40%. So government is expanding its scope every year. So now I start my presentation.
Hello, voice is not coming.
Sir, yes, I am starting.
Okay.
Yes. So my voice is coming to all. Hello.
Yes, sir, audible, sir.
Audible? Okay. Yes. So first of all, the first section under the head TCS is tax collection on source, tax collection. Section 206C, subsection 1. TCS is collected at the rates specified in this table. On the alcoholic liquor, and TCS rate is 1%. If it is a 10 to leave, then 5% has to be collected by the seller. If timber is obtained under a forest lease, then 2.5% TCS has to be collected. If timber is obtained by any mode other than under a forest lease, 2.5% TCS has to be collected. And if any other forest produce is being sold and it not being tendu leaves, then TCS has to be collected at the rate of 2.5%. And if scrap is being sold by any person, then TCS has to be collected at the rate of 1% along with sales. If minerals being coal or lignite or iron ore is being sold, then TCS has to be collected at the rate of 1%. And TCS on all these items except the alcoholic liquor, TCS rate has been reduced with effect from 14th May 2020 up to 31st March 2021 by the CBDT press release dated 30th May 2020. So every person, as per every person being a seller of the goods of the nature specified in the column of the said column in the said table will collect TCS from the buyer. Who is the seller? Seller has been defined under section 206C. Seller means central government, state government, local authority, or company or firm or cooperative society, and any individual or HUF whose turnover in the just preceding financial year exceeds rupees 1 crore or rupees 50 lakh as the case may be, even if that person was not liable to tax audit, but if his turnover during the course of business exceeds rupees 1 crore, then such individual and HUF are also liable to collect TCS. Buyer. Who is the buyer? The buyer means any person who obtains in any sale by either by way of auction or by way of any tender or by any other mode. Any other mode, he purchases the specified goods of the nature specified in that table. But TCS should not be collected from the public sector undertaking, central government and state government. So whenever public PSU, central government and state government are buying these specified goods, then TCS will not have to be collected. And if the goods are being sold to consulate or the like persons, the foreign embassy etc., then also TCS has not to be collected. And TCS is also not to be collected from a buyer who is buying the goods, such specified goods, in retail sale of goods purchased by him for personal consumption. Say for example, anyone is purchasing timber in the retail sale of goods. So the seller will not collect the TCS because the person is buying these goods for the personal consumption. TCS on sale of certain goods. TCS under section 206C subsection 1 shall not be required to be collected from a resident buyer if the goods are to be utilized for the purpose of manufacturing, processing or producing articles or things, or for the purposes of generation of power and not for trading purposes. So if any of the person is buying these specified goods which are going to be used in the course of manufacturing or processing or producing articles or things, then such person will be required to furnish form number 27C to the seller, and the seller will furnish this form number 27C to the income tax commissioner within 7 days from the end of the month in which form number 27C is received from the buyer. And it has been held in the case of Chandmal Sancheti versus ITO Jaipur that there is no time limit to furnish form number 27C by the buyer to the seller. So if any of the person has purchased the goods from the seller and he could not furnish the form number 27C immediately, he can submit it within any reasonable time. But whenever the seller has received the form number 27C from the buyer, then he has to submit it to the commissioner within 7 days from the end of the month in which 27C is received from the buyer. Scrap has been defined under section 206C as under. Scrap is a very important word and a very important to be considered by all of us in this table, because in our routine use most of our clients sells scrap. So what is the scrap? As per section 206C, scrap means waste and scrap from the manufacture or mechanical working of materials which is definitely not usable as such because of breakage, cutting up, wear and other reasons. So these the two important conditions for an item being scrap to be considered are the following. The scrap should arise from manufacture or mechanical working of material, and it should not be usable as such. If any of the scrap is being sold by any person who is a seller, then if any such scrap is usable as such, then no TCS is required to be collected. But if any of the scrap cannot be used as such, then the seller should be required to collect the TCS from the buyer. And the said scrap should arise from manufacture or mechanical working of materials. If any of the two conditions are not satisfied, then it will not be treated as a scrap and then TCS will not be required to be collected. The definition of scrap does not suggest that scrap should be generated by the seller himself. So there are so many cases in various tribunal and high courts and even up to the Supreme Court regarding the TCS on scrap. In the case of Chandmal Sancheti versus ITO Jaipur, ITAT bench held that the definition of scrap does not suggest that scrap should be generated by the seller himself. It means the ITAT Jaipur bench has held that if any of the person who is only the trader of scrap, he is also liable to collect the TCS on scrap, because they have told that the section does nowhere suggest that the scrap should be generated by the himself. Even if any scrap is generated in the course of manufacture or mechanical working of material by any other person, and any other person is purchased and he is again selling to someone in the further step, then he is required to collect the TCS even if he is not the manufacturer. Then scrap sold should arise out of manufacturing or mechanical working of material, in absence of which no requirement is there to collect the tax at source. The same view has been held in the case of Navine Chlorine International Limited, Ahmedabad ITAT in the year 2012. In this case, ITAT has held that any of the scrap which is arisen only out of manufacturing or mechanical working of material should only be liable to be covered under TCS. if any of the scrap is not arisen out of the manufacturing process, say for example, any of the builder sell the scrap of the cement bags or scrap of the iron, scrap of the steel. In such a case, scrap will not be covered under section 206C and liable to be TCS. So this was the landmark judgment of ITAT Ahmedabad. Then another judgment from Lucknow ITAT bench, in which it has been held that provisions of TCS are not applicable to dealer of scrap. There are so many controversial judgments also. ITAT Jaipur has held that the dealer of scrap is also covered in the case of Chandmal Sancheti. Lucknow ITAT has held that the dealer of scrap is not covered because only the person who has manufactured the goods, only he is covered. So in the case of Lala Bharat Lal and Sons, it was held by Lucknow ITAT that if any of the goods is not arisen out of manufacturing process, then the seller is not required to collect the TCS. And in the case of Priya Blue Industries, Gujarat High Court has held that if any of the goods has arisen out of shipbreaking activity, then many of the goods arisen out of shipbreaking activity are usable as such. So they do not fall within the definition of the scrap. So TCS is not required to be collected by in such a case. Then there was a judgment of Bharti Auto Products, Rajkot ITAT. In this case, that was a judgment by the special bench of ITAT Rajkot, in which it was held that if any of the person is selling any scrap, even if such scrap has not arisen out of the manufacturing or process or has not arisen out of mechanical working, and even if such goods is a waste, any waste or any scrap even not arisen, any waste even not arisen out of manufacturing process is also covered. So the trader of the scrap or trader of the waste material is also covered under section 206C. The said view has been held in the case of Bharti Auto Products Limited by the Rajkot ITAT bench. The said judgment was very elaborate judgment, and they have told that the waste is separate word and waste and scrap arising out of manufacturing process. So scrap is a separate word. So all these judgments are confusing to all of us, because some judgments have held that dealer is not covered, some judgments have held that dealer is covered, some judgment has held that shipbreaking activity is goods are usable as such, so not covered. So I want to conclude in my opinion that since in the case of shipbreaking activity, many of the products arisen out of shipbreaking are usable as such. So if any of the waste or scrap is usable as such without any further processing or without any further activity being carried on that goods, then no TCS is required because that goods is usable as such. Then definition of scrap: waste and scrap arising out of manufacturing process. So as per Bharti Auto, waste is separate word and scrap arising out of manufacturing process is a separate word. So any of the goods which is not usable as such, that is a waste, even if that has not arisen out of manufacturing process, so TCS has to be collected on that. So as per the Bharti Auto Products, Navin Fluorine International judgment is not applicable. So in my view, in my opinion, on the safer side, in all the provisions of either of the TDS or of the TCS, if there are two views possible, we must always suggest our client to either deduct the TDS or to collect the TCS, because this is not a money which is not going to be reimbursed to that person. This money is going to be reimbursed to that person. He will get the credit of this TDS or TCS in his ITR. But if we fail to collect TDS or deduct TDS or fail to collect the TCS, and whenever income tax department carry out any survey or any assessment on us, we receive any notice from TDS department, then our client will have to pay the TDS or TCS out of his own pocket. And many times such notices come even after lapse of 2-3 years, and at that time we will not be able to collect this amount of TDS or TCS from the buyer. So if any waste is being sold, even if it is not arisen out of manufacturing process, we will advise our client that he should collect TCS even if such goods is not arisen out of manufacturing process, even if it is a waste, until any High Court judgment comes, because the High Court judgment in the case of CIT versus Priya Blue Industries, Gujarat High Court, the judgment of Bharti Auto Product was not clearly distinguished, because the judgment of Priya Blue Industries, the case was covered of the ship breaking activity. That was not the case of the waste, because the many of the goods were usable as such. So Gujarat High Court has laid down the emphasis on the word usable as such. So they did not clearly distinguish the Rajkot Tribunal judgment in the case of Bharti Auto. So if any good judgment come in future or any CBDT circular come, until as a safe side, we should advise our client that even if any goods which is not arisen out of manufacturing process, which is not usable as such, or it is any waste, he should collect TCS at the rate of 1% from the buyer. TCS on grant of the lease or license, section 206, subsection 1C. Any person who grants a lease or license or transfer any right or interest in respect of the parking lot, toll plaza, mining and quarrying, then he is liable to collect TCS at the time of debit of the amount or at the time of receipt of the amount, whichever is earlier, at the rate of 2%. Any individual and HUF, even if his turnover is not exceeding rupees 1 crore, he is also liable to collect TCS in the case of parking lot, toll plaza or mining. So generally individual and HUF are generally not giving toll plaza and mining and quarrying, but many times individual and HUF or any other person are giving parking lot by way of transfer of right to use by the person who is using that parking lot. Say for example, any of the person is having a plot of 5,000 square foot just near to any big hotel, and that the owner of the hotel asks for the individual to give that plot as a use to be used by that hotel for a parking. So if that individual person is given this parking to the hotel, that individual, then that hotel is required to collect TCS from the person to whom they are paying the parking charges, because as per section 206C subsection 1C, there is no limit of turnover in the case of individual or HUF or any of the person, being a company or being a partnership firm, LLP, cooperative society, all are covered, because here the word used is every person, and no exception is there, as there is an exception under section 206C subsection 1, and there is one more exception in section 206C subsection 1, which we will discuss in the next PPT. So in the case of parking lot, there are say for example, there is any religious function in great religious ceremony going to in a great any big temple. So if that temple has acquired so many places for parking and they have taken various places on parking, then all the persons who have given the parking places, to that religious temple, that individual and HUF and all other persons will collect TCS from that religious place. So in the even if the hotel is given a hotel has taken a parking lot from an individual, then that individual or HUF will collect TCS from that hotel. For the purpose of section 206C subsection 1C on the parking lot, toll plaza or mining, the collector should be a person as defined under section 2 subsection 31 of the Income Tax Act, because under this section the word used is every person. So the every person definition of person is given under section 2 subsection 31 of the Income Tax Act. So from there we will see that the person definition of person does not include central government or state government. When you will see the section 2 subsection 31, There central government and state government are not the person, because as per the Constitution of India, central government and state government can never be the assessee, and any income tax cannot be imposed on any of the central government or any of the state government. So they are not covered under the person under section 2 subsection 31. So they are not required to collect TCS even if they are giving any parking lot, even if they are giving any toll plaza, they are giving any mining. But in India, most of the toll plaza or most of the mining and quarrying are being given by the central government and state government. So this is only a drafting error of the income tax, that they have not defined the word person here under the section 206C subsection 1C, because central and state government cannot be covered under section 2 subsection 31. But if any of the central government or state government is going to be or are required to be made liable to collect TCS, then they have to be covered here under the definition of lessor and lessee, licensor. So in other section under the section 206C subsection 1, under section 206C subsection 1F, there is a definition of buyer, there is a definition of seller. But under this section 206C subsection 1C, the income tax department have, due to I think drafting error, they have forgotten to give the definition of licensor, lessor. So they may not be liable. However, to avoid any litigation, all of the government, central government or state government are collecting TCS on parking lot, toll plaza or mining and quarrying, because the TCS on mining and quarrying runs into millions and billions of rupees. So they do not take the risk. So they are on the safer side doing this. But if any of the central or state government department have forgotten to collect, they cannot be made responsible. The same view has been taken by the Cuttack Tribunal in the case of Sri Jagannath Temple Managing Committee Office, because the Sri Jagannath Temple Managing Committee Office is a government undertaking, is a government department, because that office is run by the government. Therefore, the Jagannath Temple Office has given the quarries on mining quarries on the license, and they did not collect TCS. So they were held that because these are the state government and they are not covered under section 2 subsection 31. So they are not defaulter and they were not liable to collect TCS under section 206C subsection 1C. But it should be used only as a sparingly. We should not forever advise our client that you are not covered under 231, 2 subsection 31, so you should not collect because you are central or state government. But let them cover, because it may happen in the next year or the day, any time the government may come out with any retrospective amendment, and then central and state government will also be defined under the head lessor or licensor. TCS on sale of motor vehicle. If any of the person sell motor vehicle and its price is exceeding rupees 10 lakh, then TCS at the rate of 1% has to be collected on the whole of the sale value. TCS on motor vehicle is to be collected only at the time of retail sale and not on the sale of motor vehicle by manufacturer to the dealer. If any of the manufacturer is selling vehicles to the dealers, they are not required to collect the TCS. There is a CBDT circular number 22/2016 dated 8th June 2016 in which it was specified by the CBDT that any of the manufacturer is not required to collect TCS even if the vehicle value is exceeding rupees 10 lakh from the buyer, and the buyer being the retailer distributor, when he sell in the retail sale, then he is required to collect TCS at the rate of 1%. And TCS is also applicable on the motorbike. If any of the person purchases a single motorbike and the value of that motorbike is exceeding rupees 10 lakh, then he is required to collect the TCS at the rate of 1%, even if it is a motorbike, because the definition of the motor vehicle covers the motorbike also, tractor, trailer, truck, buses, chassis also. All motor vehicles are covered as per the definition given under the Motor Vehicle Act. So motor vehicle is not only the car, motor vehicle is the truck, bus, chassis, tractor, trailer, any big trucks also and multi-axle vehicle also are covered in the motor vehicle. So TCS has to be collected on this even if its value is exceeding rupees 10 lakh, then on the whole of the amount, say for example, value of any motor vehicle is rupees 12 lakh, then 12,000 TCS has to be collected. And even if any of the because the definition of this is here, the section is the section 206C subsection 1F. Definition of seller is given for the purpose of section 206C subsection 1 under an explanation at the end of the section 206C, in which central government, state government are also covered as a seller. So if any of the central government, state government, or any of the company, any of the cooperative society, or any individual or HUF whose turnover exceeding rupees 1 crore during the preceding financial year, all are covered when they are selling any motor vehicle exceeding the value of rupees 10 lakh per vehicle. So if any of the private limited company or any of the partnership firms sell any second-hand motor vehicle, second-hand car, second-hand buses, trucks, and its value is exceeding rupees 10 lakh, and they are covered under audit if they are individual HUF, or if they are partnership firm, or then they are a company, they are state government, central government offices, then they are required to collect TCS even if they are selling the second-hand vehicle. The newly introduced section 206C subsection 1G, with this will be applicable from the 1st October 2020. Earlier this was going to be effective from 1st June, so its applicability has been extended from 1st October 2020. So if any of the person sends any amount out of India under the liberalized remittance scheme, and there is no requirement, what is the LRS? Under the LRS, there is no requirement to obtain any permission from the Reserve Bank of India to remit that amount. So many of the persons were sending amount out of India and without obtaining any permission, because the RBI has specified liberalized remittance scheme. So people are sending the money, foreign currency is going out of India. And so to check the foreign currency, huge outflow of the foreign currency from India, government has introduced this section 206C subsection 1G, in which if the amount being remitted out of India is less than 7 lakh, then there will be no required to collect any TCS on that amount. No TCS will be collected. Here in my slide the word written is TDS, but no TCS if aggregate amount in a financial year is less than 7 lakh rupees. So if the amount being sent during a financial year is less than 7 lakh rupees, then no TCS is required to be collected on such remittance. But such remittance should not be for the purpose of overseas tour program package. If any of the remittance is being made to any person for the purpose of tour program package, then the limit of rupees 7 lakh is not applicable. From the start of the rupee 1, TCS has to be collected, because if it is for the overseas tour program package. If the payment is for overseas tour program package to an operator, then TCS is liable to be collected without any threshold even from the start of the rupee 1. And rate of TCS is 5%. And there is a slight relaxation for the amount being remitted for out of educational loan. So if any of the amount being remitted out of India under LRS is toward us out of educational loan obtained from any bank or notified financial institution, then only 0.5% TCS is required to be collected on such amount, and the rate of 0.5% or 5% under section 206C subsection 1G has not been reduced even during by the CBDT press release, which was given reduced due to this pandemic reason on the 30th May. They have not reduced this amount. So this amount will be 5% or 0.5% across the whole year. And if the buyer who is say bank is collecting the TCS from the person who is remitting the money out of India, and the person who is remitting the money out of India, or any of the person who is giving the money to the tour program package person, and the person who is giving the money does not have a PAN number or does not have a Aadhaar number. So in such a case, the TCS will be collected as per section 206CC at the rate of 10% or at the rate of 5% if the amount is being remitted out of educational loan. So if there is no PAN, so like the TDS provision section 206AA, under the TDS there is a section 206CC under which TCS has to be collected twice the rate or twice the specified rate or 5%, whichever is higher if the person does not have the PAN number. Nature of transaction. Purchase of tour package includes expenses for travel or hotel stay or boarding or lodging, etc. So any of the person who is buying a overseas tour package, overseas means out of India, for going out of India, he is buying any tour package from any tour operator, and his tour package includes any expenses for travel or hotel or stay, boarding, lodging, etc. Then that person will require to be collected 1%, 5% TCS from that person who is buying the. But if any of the person is only buying the air ticket from any person, then air ticket is not covered under section 206CC because the word used here is the tour package. So any of the person is buying a tour ticket, travel ticket, and along with that travel ticket, he has requested the programmer, tour operator, to kindly make his arrangement for hotel stay or for his lodging, boarding, or his local travel arrangement. Any of these or all of these arrangements are also along with his ticket. Then that's TCS at the rate of 5%. And there is no lower limit for the overseas tour program package. If TCS has already been collected by the tour operator and that tour operator again send this money out of India, then the authorized bank, authorized dealer who is remitting the money out of India will not again collect TCS from that tour operator if he has already collected the TCS from the person who has purchased this tour package. So double TCS will not be there on same amount. TCS on sale of goods above rupees 50 lakh. If any of the person sells goods above 50 lakh to a single person during one financial year, then that seller is required to collect TCS at the rate of 0.1% from at the time of receipt of amount. So all who are covered, who are the seller? Here the seller are defined under section 206C subsection 1H. Nature of transaction, sale of goods in India. So export is not covered under 206C 1H because sale in India is only covered by a seller whose turnover exceeds rupees 10 crore in preceding financial year. So during the financial year 2020-21, who is liable to collect TCS? Any person whose turnover was exceeding rupees 10 crore in the financial year 2019-20. Such person will collect TCS from the person to whom he has sold the goods exceeding rupees 50 lakh in one financial year. TCS is required to be collected at the rate of 0.1% on such sales amount. If the sale during the year aggregate sale exceeds rupees 50 lakh, only then TCS is required to be collected. TCS sale is exceeding rupees 50 lakh to a single person during one financial year. If the buyer does not furnish the PAN or Aadhaar, then TCS will be required to be collected at the rate of 1% here. And because the section 206CC specifies that if any of the person is not having the PAN number, then TCS will be collected at the rate of 5% from the person who does not have the PAN. But here a relaxation has been given that if any of the person does not have a PAN or Aadhaar, then TCS will be collected from him at the rate of 1%. And here one important thing we must keep in mind that we will not charge the TCS in the tax invoice because this TCS is not required to be collected at the time of sale of the goods, because such TCS is only required to be collected only at the time of receipt of the amount of consideration. So whenever the amount of the consideration will be received during this year or during the next financial year or during the another financial year, only when the amount is going to be received, then only the TCS is required to be collected. Say for example, any of the person has sold goods of rupees 60 lakh during one financial year, and out of this he has received rupees 10 lakh during this financial year after 1st October 2020. So he will be required to collect TCS at the rate of 0.1% on this 10 lakh rupees, and the first 50 lakh is exempted because here the word used is on amount exceeding rupees 50 lakh. So any of the amount received in excess of 50 lakh is only covered under TCS at the rate of 0.1%. And say for example, if any of the person has sold goods of rupees 70 lakh during one financial year, out of this he has not received any of the amount during the financial year 2020-21, then such seller will not be required to collect any TCS during the financial year 2020-21. But whenever the such person receives the amount from the person who has bought the goods from us, when we will receive the amount in the next financial year. So in the next financial year, any amount exceeding rupees 50 lakh, we will collect the TCS at the rate of 0.1% on the amount in excess of rupees 50 lakh. And any of the sales made before 1st October 2020 will not be covered under TCS, but for the purpose of determining the limit of 50 lakh, that turnover will also be covered, but TCS will not be covered on the sale made before 1st October 2020, but turnover will be considered to calculate the limit of aggregate limit of 50 lakh during one financial year. Payment of TCS. When the payment of TCS has to be made, and TCS statement has to, when we have to file, when TCS certificate has to be issued, quarterly TCS statement has to be filed in form number 27 EQ. TCS certificate has to be issued in form number 27D. It has to be downloaded from the TRACES portal. And what is the frequency of filing of the TCS statement? TCS statement has to be filed every quarter. For the quarter ending 30th June, TCS statement has to be filed on or before 15th July. And for this quarter, TCS certificate in form number 27D has to be downloaded on or before 30th July, and we have to furnish it to the person from whom we have collected the TCS. And in the same manner, for the next 3 quarters, 30th September, 31st December, and 31st March. And there is one difference between TDS statement and TCS statement. TDS statement has to be furnished within 30 days from the end of the quarter, in which TDS in the next month from the end of the quarter. So we have whole month for filing the TDS statement, but as regard TCS statement, these statements have to be filed within 15 days from the end of the quarter. So here the whole 1 month is not allowed in the TCS, but only for the last quarter being 31st March, we can file our TCS statement up to 15th May, because and its TCS certificate will be issued on or before 30th May. So here also we must keep in mind that the date is not the 31st May, date is 30th May, within 15 days from the end of the filing, due date of filing of the TCS statement. And what is the due date of deposit of the TCS which we have collected from the buyers? TCS has to be deposited within 1 week from the end of the month in which such tax is collected. So in every month, whenever we have collected the TCS, we have to deposit in within 1 week from the end of the month. Even for the month of March, in the cases of TDS, there is a relaxation of whole month. If we have deducted TDS in the month of March, we can deposit it up to 30th May. But in the case of TCS, there is a third. If we have deducted TDS in the month of March, we can deposit it up to 30th April. But in the case of TCS, if we have collected even in the month of March, it has to be deposited only up to 7th April. So here no relaxation during the whole 12 months. What will happen if any of the person has not collected any TCS? If a person fails to collect the TCS, then he will be liable to pay interest at the rate of 1% per month or part thereof as per section 206C subsection 7. Under the section 206C subsection 7, even if any person has failed to collect TCS or have collected the TCS but not deposited, failed to deposit it within due date, in both cases rate of interest is 1%. If any person has failed to deduct the TDS, rate of interest there is 1%. And if he has failed to deposit the TDS which he have already deducted, then their rate of interest is 1.5%. But here in the TCS, in both the cases, rate of interest is 1.5% per month from the date of deduction, from the date when it was collectible and up to the date of deposit of the TCS challan. Section 206C subsection 6A provides a relaxation also, same as is provided in the case of TDS under section 40A1A under the proviso or under the first proviso of section 201 subsection 201, where a relaxation is allowed to the person who has failed to deduct the TDS if the person who has received the payment has included in his return of income. Then in case of TDS, the person who has made the payment, he can obtain form number 26A from the person who has received the payment. In the same way, any of the person who has failed to collect the TCS from the person who has to whom he has made the payment, then he can collect the form number 27BA from that person from whom he has failed to collect the TCS, and he can, and here three conditions must be satisfied: that the person from whom we have failed to collect the TCS, he should have filed his return of income under section 139. If he has filed his return of income, then the person who has failed to collect the TCS will not be deemed to be a defaulter. And another condition is that he has taken into account such amount for computing the income. So it is a condition that that person has utilized that amount. It is a condition that that person from whom we have failed to collect the TCS has included that purchases amount in his income tax return, and he has paid his due taxes either by way of advance tax or by way of self-assessment or TDS or any way. He has paid all his due taxes. Then the person who is a defaulter who has failed to collect the TCS will not be deemed to be a defaulter, and he will have to obtain a CS certificate in form number 27BA. But the person who has failed to collect the TCS will be required to pay the interest from the date when such amount was collectible up to the date when such person from whom we have failed to collect the TCS, he has filed his return of income. So interest will be chargeable from the date when it was collectible and up to the date when the return has been filed by such person from whom we have failed to collect the TCS. If any of the provisions of TDS or TCS are not complied, then the person who is deemed to be in default, he is liable to pay penalty under section 271H ranging from rupees 10,000 to rupees 1 lakh, and the details of penalty and some other sections are there, so which we will discuss tomorrow. So tomorrow we will be discussing so many of the issues which we could not discuss in TCS or TDS during last 2 days, or during last 2 days. We will discuss some of the issues which are so much important also, but we could not discuss. So we will discuss all such issues also tomorrow. So we will discuss details in detail about penalty under 271H on tomorrow. And so there are so this was and there are some other important points also regarding the TCS, so which now I would like to discuss. There are some few points remaining here. If any of the person has sold any, so we will discuss about here about 200. First of all, here in this slide, I want to discuss one thing, that this relaxation under section 206C subsection 6A is available only to the person in the case of section 206C subsection 1, and in the case of 206C subsection 1C, only in these two cases. So in the case of liberalized remittance or in the case of collection of TCS in sale exceeding rupees 50 lakh, or in the case of sale of a motor vehicle, such relaxation is not there. The seller is compulsorily required to collect TCS in the case of sale of motor vehicle, or in the case if his turnover is exceeding rupees 10 crore and he is selling goods of goods rupees 50 lakh to a single person during a year, or if a tour operator is collecting any money from any person for overseas tour program, or if any of the bank or any financial institution is sending money out of India from any person exceeding rupees 7 lakh. So one thing in this slide regarding the sale to a single person during one financial year exceeding rupees 50 lakh, one thing I would like to discuss here, that the purpose of introduction of this section, what we all of us would be thinking that what is the purpose of introduction of this section here, because any of the person who is having a turnover exceeding rupees 50 crore, or any of the person who is buying the goods exceeding rupees 50 lakh, why he would buy any goods unaccounted? Or because the such a big persons who are buying such a big value of the goods, why they would buy these unaccounted? But the purpose of introduction may be here that in the GST there is a provision that if any of the person sells goods to any of the person, and that person who has purchased the goods does not make payment of the sale price within 6 months from the end of the month in which the goods has been purchased, then the seller will be liable to reverse the ITC, and such ITC will be allowed to the buyer only in the month when the buyer has made the payment. Say for example, any of the goods has been sold in the month of October 2020. So payment for such goods has to be made in the month of April 2021. If the buyer has not made payment up to April 2021, then seller is required to reverse the ITC of that buyer, and that buyer will not be allowed that ITC. And whenever, say for example, the buyer makes the payment in the July 2021, only in the July 2021, that buyer will get the ITC of that GST. So to give the relief to the MSME industries or to the small industries, or to track the fake invoices, because many of the times there were so many rackets which were involved in the fake invoices, which were buying the goods, taking the ITC, but because these were the fake invoices, so they were not making payment even for 1 year. So the government has introduced this section, so any of the person involved in fake invoices will be covered here, and they will be tracked in the GST also. So to match these in the GST, this provision has been introduced. And one thing I had discussed, that if any of the person is buying the goods for the purpose of manufacturing, then he can furnish the form number 27C to the buyer and that to the seller, and that seller will not be required to collect TCS if the buyer has furnished the form number 27C stating that he is buying the goods for the purpose of manufacture. Then the seller will be required to cover the information of this form number 27C in his TCS statement, being form number 27EQ, like form number 15G and 15H information has to be covered in the form number 26Q. In the same way, information of form number 27C has to be covered in the TCS statement also. And one very small mistake has been committed in this Finance Act. However, that is only for the theoretical purpose. That may have practical implication or that may not have practical implication. In the section 206C1G, it has been specified that the TCS will have to be collected will not be collected if the amount being remitted during one financial year is less than 7 lakh. And on the other hand, it has been specified that TCS will have to be collected if the amount is exceeding rupees 7 lakh. And only on the amount exceeding rupees 7 lakh, TCS has to be collected. So what will happen with if the amount is exactly 7 lakh, because they have specified that TCS should not be collected if amount is less than 7 lakh. So if amount is exactly 7 lakh, it is not covered either in non-collection or in collection. So on a safer side, we will ourselves have to advise our client, if your amount is exactly 7 lakh during 1 year, the seller will collect, because it will be the responsibility of the seller. So in my opinion, because up to the 7 lakh, they are required to collect amount exceeding 7 lakh and less than 7 lakh. So exactly 7 lakh amount has been left. So this is only theoretical discussion. So in my opinion, most of the issues which were covered to be covered in the case of the TCS, I have tried to cover these issues. So if there is any delay in form number furnishing of the form number 27C by the person to the income tax department, there are some judgments in which it has been held that this is the procedural fault, so any one person cannot be treated as deemed to have been in default, even if he has been in delay. In the case of the 15G 15H, it has also been held that if there is any lapse, the person cannot be deemed to have been in default if he has sent it late. So most of the issues relating to TCS I have covered, and even if there are some other interesting issues which are in the TDS or in TCS, or there are some penalty provision, prosecution provision, and some TDS survey, whether the income tax department can carry out TDS survey or not, or whether the income tax department can carry out survey at which places. Can the income tax department carry out survey at the central government offices or state government offices or any other religious or charitable institution, or so many other things which we could not discuss today or during our earlier 2 days discussion. That all important discussions I will cover in my tomorrow's deliberation. And any of the persons who has any queries may discuss this tomorrow also, today also, or they may send it to me, or they may send these queries to Viragji on his mobile. So I will try to address all the queries in my tomorrow's deliberation. Anyone can send find my mobile number from my PPT, or can send to Viragji. So Viragji will forward queries to me. So I will discuss all the queries which could not be discussed today or during last 2 days. I will discuss all such queries tomorrow. So now
Can we
I hand over to Viraj.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you, sir. Sir, can we take today few of the queries?
Yes, we can take.
Okay. Sir, one query from CA Dikshita. Company has purchased a land for 30 crore. Should TDS be deducted at the time of sale deed or at the time of making actual payment installment wise?
Company has purchased the land
For 30 crore.
Yes, so this is covered under section 194 IA. So TDS has to be deducted at the every payment, every installment, not at the time of sale registration of the sale deed. Under section 194 IA, TDS has to be deducted at every payment, at every installment, not at the time of final sale deed.
Okay, sir. Same Dikshita has a question, one more. Should we deduct TDS or provision made on interest as on 31st March? So it's applicable.
If TDS provision has been made, the provision is of two types. If the person for whom the provision is made, the person is identified, the amount is identified, the liability is ascertained, then it is only an expenses which is outstanding expenses. So for the purpose of outstanding expenses, TDS has to be deducted in the month of March. But say for example, yesterday I had taken an example of the bank audit fees. In the case of bank audit, the banks generally for the purpose of accounting as per the accounting standard or for the healthy accounting practices, banks made audit fees provision for the financial year 2019-20, same in the same financial year on 31st March 2020. But here the auditor is not identified and liability is not determined, because liability of the bank to pay the audit fees will arise only when the audit report is signed, only when the audit is completed. So audit will be completed in the month of April. So as per the income tax law and various decisions, audit fees will be subject to TDS in the month of April, and in the month of March, bank is only required to do the provision. Bank is not required to collect deduct the TDS in the month of March.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, one question from Bulbul Francis. An automobile dealer services vehicle and in the process it collects used oil from vehicles that are serviced and sell it further. Whether it covers in mechanical working and whether it is a
Yes. So this is the oil is generated. Oil is generated. It is not generated out of the mechanical process. It is not generated out of the mechanical process, because mechanical process has to be done on the goods which has arisen out of scrap. But on a safer side, it is a waste. Even if it is not a scrap arisen out of manufacturing process, it is not a scrap arisen out of mechanical process, but it is a waste. And as per the judgment of the Bharti Auto Products Private Limited, Rajkot Tribunal, TCS has to be collected on the waste. On the safer side, we may advise our client to collect TCS if they are selling such waste. Otherwise, they may follow the judgment of the Navine Fluorine International or Gujarat High Court judgment of the Priya Blue. But judgment have not clearly distinguished the judgment of Bharti Auto. So I will advise that on the safer side, we may advise to collect TCS by our clients on the waste also.
okay, sir. Okay. Sir, Mukesh ji has asked a citation of Rajkot ITAD decision.
Yes, the Bharti Auto judgment. The judgment of Bharti Auto is Bharti Auto Products Private Limited, 206C. It is the judgment of year 2013. 27 ITR, page number 611. 27 ITR, page number 11, 611. And the judgment is dated 6th September 2013. Rajkot Special Bench Decision, ITA number 391 and 392, Rajkot of the year 2011.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
And tomorrow also I will give this judgment in my PPT, so all will be at least all can read this judgment. Even if we may follow the judgment of Nevine Fluorine International, but we must read this judgment so we may reach to a clarity what is the waste and what is the scrap.
Right, sir. Right. Sir,
Yeah.
one question from Shilpa. Parking lot allotted by cooperative society on lease, whether that
Yeah.
is liable to TDS?
What is what thing allotted?
Parking lot allotted by cooperative society on lease.
Yes. So on this TCS is required to be collected or not? As per
Yes, sir.
section 2, as per section 206C 1C, TCS has to be collected on the parking lot because every person is covered. There is even not even any lower limit even for an individual or a HUF. So this is a cooperative society. Cooperative society is covered in the definition of under person in the section 2 subsection 31 because it is AOP and body of individual. So society is required to collect TCS on parking in practice. Most of the societies and most of the persons other than central or state government or airport authority are not collecting TCS because we have seen that most of the central government, state government and only airport authority like these big enterprises are only collecting TCS on parking and many other small assessees, small taxpayers are not collecting TCS on parking. So in my opinion, it is advisable to collect TCS on parking.
Okay, sir. Sir, one question. That tour operator means any tour operator or foreign based operator.
Any tour operator, because
Okay.
in the definition of a tour operator, any person has not been excluded. So any person, either a private limited company or a partnership or a LLP or an individual or a HUF, even if their turnover is not exceeding 1 crore, they are also covered in the tour definition of tour operator because none has been excluded in the definition of tour operator because every person word is there and the definition of tour operator is not given because every person word is there, so every assessee is covered irrespective of his turnover and irrespective of his status of partnership, proprietorship, LLP, etc.
Right.
Yes.
Sir, TCS is applicable on single transaction from single person above 50 lakhs.
Single person. If any of the seller is having turnover exceeding 10 crore in the preceding financial year and he is selling goods of rupees 50 lakh to a single person during one financial year, then such seller is required to collect TCS at the rate of 0.1% from such buyer, single buyer. So the limit of 50 lakh is per buyer, per financial year. And TCS has to be collected only when the payment is received, not at the time of sale in this section. So next query.
Sir, one question from Preeti. Sales for financial year 20 is 50 crore. Sale of trader is TCS liable.
Yes. Sale is 50 crore.
50 crore and sale of trailers is TCS liable.
Sale of trailer, he's covered because trailer is covered in a motor vehicle. He has sold a trailer, na?
Yes,
He has
sir.
sold
Yes.
trailer. So he's covered. Trailer is a motor vehicle, and if the sale value of the trailer is exceeding rupees 10 lakh, then it is covered.
Okay, sir. One question from Santosh Maluji. For section 206 CIH, is the sale of rupees 50 lakh limit is aggregate limit, that is total for all sales during financial year 2021, or a single transaction exceeding rupees 50 lakhs?
All sale to a single person during one financial year. Limit has to be seen for the whole financial year to a single person. All sales made to him, even sales made from 1st April to 30th September will also be considered for looking at this limit of 50 lakh. But TCS collection will start only after the 1st October 2020 and only payments received after 1st October 2020, and TCS has to be collected on payment exceeding 50 lakh. And one thing here today I would like to discuss. Yesterday someone had asked for one query that the restaurant is supplying goods, supplying edible items, food items in their company every day. So I had told that it is a worse contract, and if the aggregate amount during 1 year exceeds ₹1 lakh, so he is required to deduct the TDS. But he may argue that this is a contract of supply of material, because this is not substantially a contract of supply of works. So if he is supplying a material, because the person who is supplying goods from his restaurant, he is not buying any raw material from us, he is buying the raw material from the outside market. So this is a contract of supply of material. So as per the explanation given under section 194C, this is supply of material. So TDS will not be deducted even if it is exceeding ₹1 lakh or 2 lakh or any amount. We may argue that this is a supply of material. This is not a, because CBDT had came out with a circular in the year 2006, but the definition of word material words contract of material, supply of material has been introduced in the year 2009, and after 2009 no any such circular has came out. So we may not deduct TDS even though we will not be treated as a defaulter.
Right, sir. Right. Sir, if the sale amount is 70 lakhs and the amount received is only 40 lakhs, still TCS is applicable as the whole amount is not received from the debtor.
Yes, so just I read the language of the section under the Income Tax Act. What is the language used in the income tax section? Every person being a seller who receives any amount as consideration for sale of any goods of the value or aggregate of such value exceeding ₹50 lakh in any previous year, other than the goods being exported out of India or goods covered in so and so section at the time of receipt of such amount, collect from the buyer a sum equal to 0.1% of the sale consideration exceeding 50 lakh as income tax. So if the sale being made, if we have made a sale of ₹70 lakh to him, we have received payment of ₹40 lakh from him, so we will be required to collect TCS only when the receipt exceeds ₹50 lakh. So here two conditions will have to be seen, that the payment should, the sale should also exceed 50 lakh and the payment received by us should also exceed 50 lakh. Only at the time of receipt of the payment we will be required to collect TCS. So here in this year payment collected is less than 50 lakh, so we are not required to collect TCS. In the next year we will be required to collect TCS on the amount of ₹20 lakh. When we will receive the 30 lakh, on the first 10 lakh we will not be required to collect the TCS, and on the remaining 20 lakh we will collect the TCS.
Right, sir. Sir, if client sell food through Zomato online, is it still liable to for TCS? As is TCS return to be filed, they have GST TCS on GST portal.
GST Zomato pay TCS, why he should collect? Because his sale is exceeding ₹50 lakh, or under which section? So what? Why he will be liable to collect TCS if his sale is food on Zomato? Because the Zomato is paying to him, so he is the e-commerce participant. So under section 194 or TCS 194 or TCS TDS will be deducted by the e-commerce participant, e-commerce operator. But if he is selling the goods, if he will only be covered under section 261H if his sales is exceeding ₹50 lakh during 1 year and his sale during the previous year is exceeding 10 crore. In my opinion, this may be the reply. Or if any other query was from him, then he may also write it in a detail, because the query seems to be slight incomplete. So he may write the query in detail, so we may take up this tomorrow also.
So for 206 proviso, whether assessor will still liable to pay for interest even if Form 27BS CA certificate is received from buyer?
Yes. He will be liable to pay interest from the date when such amount was collectible up to the date of filing of the income tax return by the person from whom we have failed to collect the TCS. So he will be liable to pay interest at least. He will not be liable to pay TCS, but he will be liable to pay interest under section 206C subsection 7.
So next
Yes,
question from Imra. Sir, TCS is applicable for export of goods if export to a single customer exceed 50 lakhs from partnership firm. And TCS is required to be collected from export customer also.
If TCS, if goods is being exported, then TCS is not required to be collected. TCS is required to be collected only for the goods being sold in India. If goods is being sold out of India, it has been kept out of purview of this section, subsection 1H, because the language of the section itself says that other than the goods being exported out of India. Language clearly says other than the goods being exported out of India. So any other query?
From Lina, what about TCS provision on cash sales to single person about 2 lakh with single bill? Is it still applicable?
No. Section 206C subsection 1D have already been abolished before 3 years, and in this place section 269ST has been introduced, and the liability has been imposed on the seller if the seller receives cash exceeding 2 lakh during the whole year for a single transaction, then the seller is covered. So if cash sale is being made exceeding rupees 2 lakh, section 206C subsection 1D is not applicable now since last 3 years.
Next question from Shweta Shah. In case of TCS for sale of goods applicable from 1/10/2020, then 50 lakh limit is to be considered from 1/4/2020 or collection after 1/10/2020.
Limit of the sale to a person has to be considered for the whole financial year, and payment being received has to be seen only after payment received after 1st October is only covered. So tomorrow I will give some example in my PPT. So 2-3 example I will give, so if this thing will be clear. I will try to cover 2-3 example in my PPT on this issue. So I will give a practical example on this issue. So this will also be clear. Some examples will be there tomorrow.
Yes, sir. One is from Rashmi, that TCS provision under section 206C1H amount of 50 lakhs is a single amount or is a cumulative total? So sir, is I think already explained, sir.
Yes, already covered. Cumulative.
So if opening debtors pay the amount, still provision is applicable for 50 lakhs for TCS?
If the opening debtors if there is opening debtor of the previous year, say before 1st April 2020, then it is not covered. Only the sales made after 1st October 2020 is covered. If any of the sale made before, I will give tomorrow example, because tomorrow if I will explain it theoretically, it will not be clear to you. So I will give example. So I will, in my example, I will also cover the opening debtor and any such permutation combination. Any of the my professional colleagues have any of permutation combination, any of such queries also, they may send me. So I will cover these queries also. So they may write that opening debtors of before 1st April 2020 will be covered, before 1st April 2019 will be covered. They may send me in these their queries, so I will cover in my examples.
Sure, sir. Sure. Sir, one question from Lina. Can we correct the 10 on Challan at our end through TDS CPC website? Or what is the other procedure if we cannot do from there?
So TDS, if you have mentioned the wrong 10, we may only have to take the help of the TDS CPC. We cannot ourselves correct the 10 number, because they allow only 3-4 digits correction. The whole 10 number cannot be corrected by ourselves. We have to take the help of either of our local TDS officer or of the TDS CPC. Otherwise, we ourselves cannot fully rectify or fully change the 10 number.
Sir, one question from Naresh Ji in regard to TDS, like interest paid to various NBFC bank, Tata Capital, Reliance Capital, whether for them it is required to deduct TDS?
Yes, because they are not the banking companies, they are not exempted under section 194A. NBFC are not covered, only the housing finance companies are covered. The companies which are engaged in the finance, housing finance are only exempted, and some specified exemption like cooperative, like if we are paying any interest to any bank, any cooperative bank, any housing finance company, only they are exempted. And if we are making any payment to any non-banking finance company, any private finance company, we are required to deduct the TDS under section 194A. Yes. Any other query?
One question from Rashmi Patwardhan. Is it mandatory to collect 27C form from same party every year, even though there is no change in nature of trade?
Yes. Every year we have to, and in my opinion, for every transaction of sale during the year. As regard, in my opinion, there is some difference between 15G, 15H and 27C. In the case of 15G, 15H, we have to obtain the 15G, 15H only once in the year at the first transaction in a year in the case of 15G, 15H. But in the case of 27C, in my opinion, TC form number 27C has to be obtained at the time of every sale, because at the time of every purchase, the buyer has to declare that I am purchasing these goods for the purpose of manufacture, because he may be purchasing goods for both purposes, for trading, for manufacture. So every time we have to collect TCS at the time of every sale.
Okay. So one question from Imra. We are partnership firm exporting plastic container to foreign customer. We have a foreign customer with more than 50 lakh. Is TDS has to be collected from foreign customer?
TCS or TCS? TCS is not, if the sale is exceeding 50 lakh out of India, TCS is not required to be collected.
Yes, sir. One question from Haresh Patel. How to collect TCS on sale of goods from customer by debit note, as we cannot charge in bill raised?
Yes, you can collect only by way of debit note whenever he makes a payment, as and when he makes a payment on the day which when you receive the payment, on that day you are required to raise a debit note. Then you will receive the TCS. You will be liable to collect the TCS, because you cannot add this TCS amount in the tax invoice.
One question from Chetanji. TCS on sale of goods exceeding rupees 50 lakhs at the rate of 0.10%. The amount is to be reflected in the tax invoice after GST amount.
No, not to be reflected. It is not to be reflected in the tax invoice. By way of note, you can mention. You can mention in the note that you will be liable to pay TCS at the time of payment.
Okay.
You can mention by way of note only. You are not required to mention any amount, or you are not required to add the amount in the tax invoice amount.
Okay.
Next,
one question from Bulbul. Any judgment on argument related to restaurant?
I will give examples and details to you tomorrow. So there are so many judgments which we may apply to the restaurant, because after 2009 the situation has changed. So I will give these details to you tomorrow in my PPT also, and in my deliberation I will give the CBT circular and details of the case law.
One question from Shweta Shah. If sale is rupees 25 lakhs in financial year 2021, opening receivable from same client is 75 lakhs. During the year received 85 lakhs, opening 75 lakhs and 10 lakhs from the current year sale. Is TCS applicable?
If
so I think
say,
we have already covered this, sir.
We have already covered it, or otherwise they may send it in WhatsApp to me. So I will cover my example as well. I will cover in my example.
So there are, few comments, sir. Thank you for clarifying. Perfect. Thank you for replying all the queries. Thank you. One question from Preeti. Can we shift from 10 to PAN for challan adjustment?
No. 10 amount cannot be adjusted in the PAN.
Okay.
10 amount cannot be adjusted. It is impossible.
One
10
question
amount, 10 amount cannot be taken either as a refund. It may be taken in a refund.
Right, sir. Right. One question from Sejal Kumar Jain: whether cash received in foreign currency from foreign guest on settlement of bill in hotel, whether this will be violation of section 269 ST.
ST.
And the second question also, can I read?
Yes.
Whether the exchange of foreign currency into INR in hotel is also a violation under section 269 ST, as the hotel is representative of money exchange agency.
If the amount is being received by money exchange agent, though, so they may be, if they are receiving the amount for the money exchange, so they may be exempted because they are receiving the currency, and they are receiving currency in Indian currency or foreign currency. I
Foreign
think
currencies.
they would be receiving foreign currency for exchange. So they will be out of purview of that section 269 ST. So they may send this as a query to me. So I will cover it in tomorrow also in detail.
Okay.
So they will give me detailed query that whether the person is giving them the foreign exchange, foreign currency, and we are giving him the amount as an Indian currency, and only this is being given for the purpose of exchange of currency only to the hotel, or for the purpose of their hotel charges or their restaurant charges, etc. So kindly elaborate this in your query.
One question from Sanjay ji: it is necessary to deduct TDS from interest on hypothecation of loan on vehicle from bank.
No, if we are paying any amount to the bank, even if it is against hypothecation, if it is a banking company as per the Banking Regulation Act, it is registered with the Reserve Bank of India, nationalized bank, or any bank, then we are not required to deduct TDS as given under section 194A.
Sir, one question from Imra: any reason why we cannot collect TCS through tax invoice? Logic behind that?
Because if practically you will find problem, because say for example you have made a sale of rupees 25 lakh during this year, and the liability to collect the TCS arises only when he makes the payment to you, and he say he has not made payment to you during this financial year, he has made payment to you in the month of April 2021. So you will be legally liable to collect this TCS from him only in the month of April 2021. So if you have entered this amount in your tax invoice, and your tax invoice will get entered in your books of accounts, so you will be showing him as a debtor by this TCS amount, whereas actually he is not your debtor during this year. So there will be practical difficulty in accounting, because you are not legally allowed or entitled to claim this TCS from him during this year. So in my opinion, you may mention it only by way of a note. So you will be legally liable to collect, because sometimes the buyer may say that you had not informed to me that you are also going to collect TCS from me. So you may mention it by way of note only, in my opinion.
Right, sir. Right. So one question from Rashmi Patwardhan: can a dealer collect single 27C for the entire financial year, as it is
No.
very difficult to for every transaction due to volume?
No, it may be at a risk. You may collect, and you may take an undertaking from that buyer also that during the whole year I will not purchase any of the goods from you except for the purpose of manufacturing. If he has given an undertaking to you, then it is okay. Otherwise, at the time of every sale, you should collect form number 27C, because any of the person may purchase the goods from you for the two purposes: one for the purpose of manufacture and one for the purpose of trading. So in my opinion, you should collect every time.
Right, sir. Sir, we have covered almost all questions. Now some comments, sir, from Bulbul. Thank you so much. Chetan Somaya ji, very nice information. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the nice session by speaker Lina Nahar. Dikshita, thank you so much, sir, for having very knowledgeable seminar. It's clear very nicely. So, sir, it's a vote of thanks basically from the participant side.
Thanks to all the my colleagues who are sparing their valuable time also here.
Now over to Bafnaji for formal vote of thanks for today's session.
Excellent, excellent. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to very eminent speaker on the TDS and TCS provisions under the Income Tax Act. He's very experienced and very expert in TCS and explained all the provisions in depth with latest amendment nicely and all satisfy all the queries raised by the viewers very satisfactory. So thanks a lot for a wonderful session. To Rajesh Mehta again, thanks. And thanks to viewers also.
Thanks
Thank
to
you,
all
thank you
also.
so much.
Thanks to Bafna Sahab, thanks to Viraj ji, thanks to all team members, all
Excellent.
the
Yeah,
professionals.
very knowledgeable, very excellent lesson. Thank you, sir.